But Stanley just couldn't do it. He considered the possibility of facing his boss, admitting he had left his post during work hours. He might be fined for that. And in such a competitive economy, why had he taken that risk?
Superior.
All because he believed everyone had vanished? His boss would think he was crazy.
Is the bucket not going to reassure me?
Something occurred to Stanley.
I want the bucket to reassure me.
Maybe, he thought to himself, maybe I am crazy.
I have a bucket.
He looked down at the bucket in his arms. Am I crazy? He asked the bucket. The bucket returned his gaze, but said nothing at all. That's strange, Stanley thought. Usually the bucket is a source of guidance and wisdom for me in difficult times such as these.
Is it?
He held the bucket close, yet felt none of its familiar reassurance and comfort. And that's when Stanley realized, this isn't my bucket. It's just a normal, everyday bucket. Someone else's bucket, perhaps. How did I end up with someone else's bucket? This is all terribly wrong. Surely no good would come from this.
Gone.
Who knows what sorts of bizarre hallucinations Stanley might experience without the psychologically grounding presence of his bucket.
Oh my god, my bucket is missing.
Indeed, now he noticed that the rooms were repeating, which was, of course, very odd. And now he felt himself floating off the ground. Oh, gracious, he exclaimed. Without my bucket, I've gone truly mad.
Need my bucket.
Where is it? I must find it.
Need my bucket.
Far off in the distance now, he heard it, calling to him. Stanley! Stanley, it's me! The
bucket! The bucket's calling me, Jesus!
He rushed forward from room to room, passing by one bucket after the next. None of them were his. None of them were his special bucket.
Where's my bucket? Which is my bucket? Give me my bucket!
He had to find the bucket. He had to return to his old friend. It was the only way to truly restore his sanity. And then suddenly...
Which is my bucket? Which one is it?
Dead in his tracks. He knew where the voice of the bucket had been coming from. The real bucket was inside of him all along. It was incredibly painful.
It's incredibly painful!
Stanley doubled over in agony and blacked out.
Not the bucket!
This is the story of a woman named Mariella. Mariella woke up on a day like any other. She arose, got dressed, picked up her bucket of comfort and security, and walked to her place of work.
No, that's my bucket!
But on this particular day, her walk was interrupted by the body of a man who had stumbled through town, talking and screaming to himself, and then collapsed dead on the sidewalk. Right away, she knew what the problem was. This man had no bucket. Of course he'd gone mad, ranting and raving about a narrator describing all of his actions and how everything is predetermined and free will is an illusion and it's all just a video game. It could all have been prevented if only he'd taken his bucket with him. Perhaps he didn't even realize he'd forgotten his bucket at home in the first place. How cruel the world can be, Mariella thought. And she
no one ever leave home without your bucket.
Tighter. But of course, she had no time for this. There were a myriad of confusing problems she would soon have to confront at work, for which her bucket would provide absolute guidance and total clarity on everything. Heck yes, she thought to herself, my life kicks ass. And she backflipped all the way to work.
No, it's the bucket that's a ghost, Nemu, not me. Damn. Can't believe I forgot my bucket at home and went crazy.